I don't think there's any care coming from the president. He wants to deal with Iran. And he doesn't care about the relationship between Israel and the United States. This is all about Barack Obama. And what you've got is, you've got Bibi Netanyahu, all about Bibi Netanyahu.
Candid comments from Michael Reagan on this very program yesterday as we welcome you back into America's Forum with Miranda Kahn, J.D. Hayworth. Miranda, suffice it to say, and this may be an understatement, the Prime Minister's victory in Israel came as a surprise, perhaps even a shock to many who thought he might be done.
Maybe Obama? Is that what you're referring to? The win may be a setback, though, for President Obama's plans to resume peace talks with the Palestinians. But according to reports, the president may try to bypass Israel and go straight to the UN to try and force that two-state solution he wants.
Joining us for in-depth analysis, David Horowitz of the David Horowitz Freedom Center. He's also the author of the Black Book of the American Left, Volume 3, entitled The Great Betrayal. We should also note that remaining with us is Rabbi Abraham Cooper, the founder of the Digital Terrorism and Hate Project at the Simon Wiesenthal Center. David, thanks for joining us by phone. What do you make of this detour to the UN by President Obama to try and stop Israel?
Look, Obama is an enemy of Israel and the Jews, just as he is of the Christians. He identifies with the Islamic world. There can't hardly be a question about that, since he let hundreds of thousands of Christians be slaughtered without doing anything. Netanyahu's finally come to the obvious conclusion: you can't negotiate a peace with people who want to exterminate you. Of course, every Israeli prime minister has been under pressure from American administrations. But what's happened here is that the boil has been broken. And now we're confronting the reality, which is that Obama wants to line up with the Islamic regimes that want to destroy Israel. Hopefully, this will be a wake-up call to Democrats in this country. And to a large section of the Jewish community, which is deluded in thinking that it can make a peace and have two states with these Palestinians. It's impossible. It was tried in Gaza. Israel withdrew from Gaza, and the response was to turn Gaza into a rocket launching camp.
So, Rabbi, is it impossible? Some harsh criticism about the president there from David. Is it impossible? Is it just unrealistic?
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now? Rabbi?
We may be having some problems with
Okay.
our Skype transmission,
Apologies.
but thankfully David Horowitz remains with us. So David, let me turn to you again to ask, what happens now? Does Israel go it alone? And what about the possibility of really being branded an outlaw by the nations of the Security Council at the United Nations?
Well, look, the Europeans have been Jew haters for a very long time, and they came out into the open some years ago. So I'm not an expert on Israel's military capabilities or its ability to survive, but I can tell you what's happening throughout the Middle East, and that is, you can look at Egypt, which is easily the most important Arab country in the Middle East, which we have lost. Egypt is making alliances with Russia and China. Israel is reaching out to China and India. I think this is what's going to happen. It's a political battle now.
Well, speaking
Israel
of
could hardly be more isolated than it is when it has the president of the United States, its key ally, condemning it and attacking it and putting pressure on it and turning the tables on it, while he's cozying up to a Hitlerian regime in Iran, which is called for wiping not only Israel but America off the face of the earth.
But speaking of playing politics, let's not forget that Prime Minister Netanyahu did say back in 2009 that he was for a two-state solution and has now changed his mind. Many believe that he did that just to get reelected.
And David got about 40 seconds to answer this.
American presidents have stuck it to the Israelis for years and years and years. There's this fiction about a peace process. There hasn't been a serious peace process ever in the Middle East, in this region. I mean, at the Cairo summit, which I forget the year, but it was something like could have been 1983, it could have been earlier. The Arab states and the Palestinians came together and they all signed a document, no peace, no negotiations, no recognition for Israel, no peace.
And that has been a prologue to the problems we see today, in the opinion of David Horowitz. David, we thank you for your time. More on this relationship between Israel and the U.S. when we hear from Elliot Abrams up next.